The morning began like any other, but everything changed the moment Ethan pulled back the sheets and froze at the sight of the blood staining the pale fabric. His heart thudded with a force that left him breathless, the room tilting as fear surged through him like a cold wave. His daughter Lily, only 10 years old, was still asleep beside the stain, small, fragile, and curled into herself. For a single father who had already lost too much in life, that red smear felt like the universe was about to take something from him again. Ethan's hands trembled as he whispered a prayer he hadn't said in years, feeling the weight of uncertainty crush into his chest. He didn't know yet that this morning would unravel a secret he had buried so deeply even he could barely face it. It would force him to confront the very pain that shaped the man he had become, the pain that turned him from a once successful CEO into a father just trying to keep his world from falling apart. If you believe in kindness, healing, and second chances, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more meaningful stories like this to life. The hospital room felt too white, too sterile, too quiet. Ethan sat with his elbows on his knees, staring at the floor as the doctor explained that Lily's bleeding wasn't an injury or an accident, it was stress-induced. A psychosomatic reaction. Her mind had been carrying a weight too heavy for her young shoulders, and it was manifesting physically. The words felt like blows, each syllable carving deeper into Ethan's already scarred heart. He had been so focused on providing for her, on keeping their lives afloat after the chaos of the past year, that he had failed to see the invisible wounds forming inside her. She had been smiling, laughing, studying, doing everything a normal child does. Yet behind those bright eyes, she had been breaking in silence. Ethan had once run one of the biggest tech companies in the city. He had been young, brilliant, unstoppable. Then life pulled the ground from under him. His wife, Anna, passed away suddenly, leaving him drowning in grief while raising an infant alone. He had tried to be strong, but grief reshaped him into something unrecognizable. Panic attacks, sleepless nights, and a crippling sense of inadequacy led him to make mistakes that cost him his company. His investors left, his board removed him, and his reputation shattered. In the aftermath, he walked away from everything except Lily, the only part of his life he refused to lose. But trauma has a way of lingering like a shadow, and now Lily was showing signs of pain he had thought he was shielding her from. In the days following the hospital visit, the house felt different, not colder, but heavier. Ethan moved through the rooms with a new kind of awareness, noticing the quiet moments in which Lily seemed lost in her thoughts, the way she hesitated before speaking, how she watched him as though afraid he might disappear. He realized with a sinking heart that she had been trying to be brave for him. She didn't want to worry her already hurting father. That guilt pressed on him more than any boardroom failure ever had. Ethan made changes. He reduced his freelance workload, started spending slow mornings with her, cooking breakfast together, biking through the park, reading stories at night the way Anna used to. It wasn't perfect, he was still learning how to live without letting fear control him, but Lily slowly began to relax, her shoulders less tense, her eyes more peaceful. Yet something still lingered, a wall she wasn't ready to break down. One evening, as they watched the sunlight spill through the living room windows, Lily finally opened up. She told him how she had been afraid he would leave just like her mother did, not by choice, but by fate. Every time he had a sleepless night, every time he sat in silence lost in old memories, she worried those moments were signs that something bad might happen to him too. She felt like she had to hold her emotions in to keep him from breaking. Her body had simply reached its limit. Those words pierced through him deeper than any business loss or betrayal. He held her tightly, as if he could shield her from every fear with the strength of his arms alone. In that moment, he vowed to change, not just for her, but for himself. He began therapy again, faced the guilt he had been burying, and slowly peeled back the layers of emotional armor he'd wrapped himself in. Healing wasn't instant, and it wasn't easy, but it was real. Weeks passed, and Lily improved. Her episodes faded, her laughter became brighter, her drawings more colorful. And Ethan found himself rediscovering parts of his heart he thought had died with Anna. The house felt alive again, not because the pain had vanished, but because they were facing it together, openly and bravely. Ethan never reclaimed his CEO title, but he discovered something far more powerful, the ability to build a peaceful life with his daughter. He learned that strength isn't measured by business success or financial stability, but by the willingness to confront your own brokenness and still choose love. And Lily learned that even when life hurts, even when loss shapes your story, healing is possible when you have someone who refuses to give up on you. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Your engagement helps us continue creating inspiring stories for you.